Hey, alright, so today's topic is from a viewer that wrote in and asked me before I even go into it. I may actually at some point, lose my voice during this video. Um, I think I'm like starting to get like laryngitis or something. My throat is really, really scratchy, and I keep losing my voice. So at any point, if I lose my voice, I apologize. I'm gonna try really, really hard not to lose my voice. Um, and I know it's just gonna be high pitched and whatever, but anyway. Um, so if you wrote in to want and asked me if I could talk about alcoholism and alcohol abuse, addiction, and the signs and the symptoms, and how to help somebody with their drinking problem. Um, Hang on, I need to put like a cough drop in my mouth. Um, so now this is a topic that really, really hits home to me for many reasons, and not because I was ever an alcoholic or anything like that, because I wasn't, but um, I've known lots of people that had alcohol problems, and also it goes farther than it goes deeper than I guess that I talk about. I know a lot of people that have had alcohol problems and family members that suffered from alcohol abuse. Uh, and this is a hard topic because addiction is addiction, and it kind of goes with any, alcoholism and alcohol abuse is still an addiction, just like a drug addict is. It's an addiction, and you know, there's people think that you know. Okay, so let me ask you this: if you consume alcohol simply to feel good, or to avoid feeling bad, your drinking could become problematic, and alcoholism and alcohol abuse can sneak up on you. So it's important to be aware of the warning signs and take steps to cut back. Um, Understanding the problem is the first step to overcoming the problem. So uh, you kind of have to understand the problem to overcome the problem. So, which kind of leads me to understanding alcoholism. Alcoholism and alcohol abuse are due to many factors, including genetics, how you were raised, your social environment, your emotional health. Um, some racial groups, such as like American Indians and Native Alaskans, are more at risk than others of developing alcohol addiction. People who have a family history of alcoholism or who associate closely with heavy drinkers um, are more likely to develop drinking problems. And those who suffer from mental health problems such as anxiety or depression or bipolar disorder are particularly at risk because alcohol may be used to self-medicate. A lot of people with mental health issues, um, they tend to self-medicate because they think that it's going to help solve their problem. Um, since since drinking is so common in our culture and affects widely from person to person, it's not always easy to figure out where the line is between social drinking and a drinking problem. A lot of people will say, well, I only drink socially, but they don't really realize how deep they, their alcoholism really is. The bottom line is alcohol is how alcohol affects you. Um, if your drinking is causing problems in your life, you most likely have a drinking problem. And usually the first thing is what do people do when they think that they have a problem? Denial. And it was the first step. So I'm going to ask you a series of a couple questions, and it can kind of help you know, or if someone you know has a drinking problem. Um, you may have a drinking problem if uh, feel guilty or shamed about your drinking, if you lie to others or hide your drinking habits. That is a real big thing. Um, have friends or family members who are worried about your drinking. Need to drink in order to relax or feel better. If you black out or forget what you did while you were drinking, and regularly drink more than you intended to. Now, if you checked yes for any of them, you may have a drinking problem. Um, I'm not saying that you do, but those are some of the questions to ask yourself to, to kind of get the ball going. Um, Signs and symptoms of alcohol abuse, also called alcohol dependence. Unlike alcoholics, alcohol abusers have some ability to set limits on their drinking. However, their alcohol use is still self-destructive and dangerous to themselves or others. Um, so, some common side effects or signs and symptoms would be using alcohol in situations where it's physically dangerous, such as drinking and driving, operating machinery while intoxicated, or mixing alcohol with prescription medication against doctor's orders. That is extremely dangerous. Um, Repeatedly neglecting your responsibilities at home, at work, or school because of your drinking. For example, flunking, uh, classes or tests, neglecting your children, or skipping out on, commitments because you're hungover and you can't do anything because you're hungover. Also, experiencing repeated legal problems on account of your drinking. For example, like getting arrested um, for driving under the influence, or for being drunk and disorderly conduct. That's another one. Also, continuing to drink even though your alcohol use is causing problems in your relationship. You may know that, say you're in a relationship or you're married, and you continue to drink even though it causes extreme problems in your relationship. Getting drunk with your buddies, for example, even though you know your wife will be very upset and hurt, or fighting with your family because they dislike how you act when you drink, but you still continue to do it. That's another, sign and symptom that have alcohol abuse. Um, Drinking as a way to relax or de-stress. Basically, many drinking problems start when people use alcohol to self-soothe or relieve stress. Um, Getting drunk after a stressful day, for example, you know, reaching for a bottle every time you have an argument with a spouse or a boss or a family member. By grabbing that alcohol bottle because you're stressed out, really think about your problem. Is that really helping your problem, or are you just self-medicating? I mean, you're stressed. But by drinking is not really going to help anything. You're not going to find the answers to any problem at the bottom of an alcohol bottle. Um, so here are some withdrawal symptoms that someone might experience from, alcoholism. Anxiety, shakiness, sweating, nausea and vomiting, insomnia, depression, irritability, fatigue, loss of appetite, headache, um, dizziness. I already said insomnia, mood swings, and then also in severe cases, withdrawal from alcohol can also involve confusion, hallucinations, seizures, fever, agitation, sweating. These can be really, really dangerous, and I encourage you to talk to your doctor if you are a heavy drinker and want to quit, or if you know someone that is a heavy drinker and needs to quit. It's better to get help sooner than later. The problem will only get worse. Some other symptoms and signs. You've lost control over your drinking. You drink more often, more alcohol than you want. You want to quit, but you can't. You've given up other activities because of alcohol. Alcohol pretty much consumes you. So, like, you're spending less time on activities and becoming more involved in drinking or spending time with the people that you love because your alcohol is taking over. Alcohol takes up a great deal of your energy and your focus. So, if you're spending a lot of time on drinking, thinking about it, or recovering from its effects, you probably have few interests um, or interests in social involvements that don't revolve around drinking. And you drink even though you know it's causing problems. For example, um, you recognize that your alcohol use is damaging your marriage, making your depression worse or causing health problems, but you continue to drink anyway. That is a severe problem. Denial is one of the biggest obstacles to getting help for alcohol abuse and alcoholism. And the desire to drink is so strong that the mind finds many ways to rationalize drinking. Um, I've had people lie to my face and tell me that they were not drunk when they were, and it hurts me because I couldn't help them. Um, and when the consequences are obvious, by keeping you from looking honestly at your behavior and its negative effects, denial also, um, you know, ag- exacerbates alcohol-related problems with work, finances, and mostly your relationships. And if you have a drinking problem, you may deny it by saying, like, I don't know, complaining that family and friends are, you know, ag- making the drinking worse, or blaming your drinking or drinking related problems on others by saying, well, such and such drink, so I drink. Or drastically underestimating how much you drink by saying, oh, I only had 3 beers, but really you had a real lot more. Or downplaying the negative consequences of your drinking. A lot of people deny it by a lot of those ways. For example, you may blame your unfair boss for trouble at work, or a nagging wife for your marital issues, rather than look at how your drinking is basically contributing to the problem, while work, relationship, And financial stresses happen to everyone. They do not just happen to people that drink, they happen to everyone. So, an overall pattern of, you know, deterioration and blaming others may be a sign of trouble. So, if you find yourself rationalizing your drinking habits, lying about them, or refusing to discuss the subject, take a moment to consider why you're so defensive. Like, excuse me, think about it. Why are you so defensive? While, work, if you find yourself being so defensive, you if you truly believe you don't have a problem, there should be no reason for you to cover up your drinking or make excuses. Now, there are many myths about drinking and alcohol abuse. Myth one would be I can stop drinking anytime I want to. It's a myth. Because if you can, well, then you could. But maybe you can, but more likely you can't. Myth two, my drinking is my problem. I'm the one it hurts, and no one has the right to tell me to stop. That's true. The quitting drinking is up to you. But are you deceiving yourself if you think that your drinking hurts no one else? Because I'm sure that it probably does. Your problem is also their problem. Myth three, I don't drink every day, so I can't be an alcoholic. Or I drink wine or beer, so I can't be an alcoholic. Alcoholism is not defined by what you drink or when you drink it, or even how much you drink. It's it's the effects of your drinking that define a problem. Okay, if your drinking is causing problems in your home, in your work, in your relationships, in your life, whatever, you have a drinking problem. Whether you drink daily or only on the weekends, down shots or tequila, or stick to wine, drink 3 bottles of beer a day or 3 bottles of whiskey. It doesn't matter what you drink. It matters what the effects of the drinking that define a drinking problem. Um, Myth four, I'm not an alcoholic because I have a job and I'm doing okay. You don't have to be jobless and drinking out of a paper bag to be an alcoholic. I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say, well, I have a job and I'm not drinking alcohol out of bags. Many alcoholics are able to hold regular jobs, get through school, provide for their families. Some are even able to excel. You know, just because you're a high functioning alcoholic doesn't mean you're not putting yourself or others in danger. Over time, the effects will catch up on you. And myth five, drinking is not a real addiction like drug abuse. Alcohol is a drug, and alcoholism is every bit as damaging as a drug addiction. Okay, alcohol addiction causes changes in the body and the brain, and long-term alcohol abuse can be devastating effects on your health, your career, your relationships. Um, Alcoholics go through physical withdrawal when they stop drinking, just like drug users do when they quit. You know, so there's a lot of myths. Um, Getting help for alcohol abuse, getting sober is only the beginning. Um, you continued recovery depending on a lot. Okay, you need to have you need a support. It's easy to fall back into old patterns when things get tough. You need to have a support system. You need to get therapy. You need to get involved in a self-help program. Choose to go to rehab. You know, take a self-deflective treatment approach. Support is essential. It's recovering from alcohol abuse is much easier when you have people that you can lean on for encouragement and comfort and guidance. Trust me, I know. No, I've never been the drunkie, but I've known people to be the alcoholic, and I know how much support is important. So let me just wrap this up by basically helping a loved one with alcohol abuse. If someone you love has a drinking problem, you may be struggling with a number of painful emotions, including shame, fear, anger, self-blame, etc. The problem may be so overwhelming that it seems easier to ignore it and pretend that nothing is wrong. But in the long run, denying it is just more damaging to you, other family members, and the person with the drinking problem. So I encourage you to get help now, or to help the person that has the problem. A good place to start is by joining a group. Go to a trusted friend or a therapist. I know that you cannot force someone you love to stop drinking. As much as you want to, and as hard as it is to watch, you cannot make someone stop drinking. The choice is up to them. And I know it hurts. Don't expect the person to stop drinking and stay sober without helping. You have to help. Drinking is a serious problem, and they need to find help and coping skills to help them get through. And remember that recovery is an ongoing process. Recovery is a bumpy road, okay? And it requires time, and it requires patience. An alcoholic will not magically become a different person and stay sober. And once they are sober, they're not magically gonna just be fine. The problem that led to the alcohol abuse is the first place you have to be faced with. So it's just like any other addiction, any other related alcohol or drug or eating, they're all addictions, and it doesn't matter what type. An addiction is an addiction, and if you are enabling someone's addiction, I would encourage you to get help now before it's too late, and before you just damage things so much more. I promise you, it will just make things so much worse. So I hope this help was helpful. If you have a topic that you would like me to talk about, or a problem, please let me know. Inbox me, write me a comment, whatever, and I'm happy to touch any topic that you would like to talk about. That's what I'm here for. I'm not a doctor or a licensed psychiatrist or anything, but I've been through a lot, and I've known a lot of people to go through a lot, so I know how to address a lot of problems. So, yeah, I hope that this is just the beginning of your lifelong recovery. Until next time, peace and love. Stay kind to one another, and know that you're not alone in any problem or addiction. Bye.